Well, guys, what do we know? More evidence has come out with regards to the nasty, disgusting Donald Trump, the perv in the White House. Let's get into it and break it down because I know you know that we have a criminal pervert in the White House.
No criminal, certainly no one convicted in conjunction with a horrific crime like child sex abuse, no criminal should be given a reward for doing interviews about their crimes, right? It's instinctively repulsive to us as Americans. But of course, that is what Donald Trump's Justice Department appears to have just done in the case of Ghislainemaxwell, who was convicted of crimes related to mass child sex abuse in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Trump's Justice Department sent Trump's former personal defense lawyer, who now has the #2 job in the US Justice Department, he sent that man to go meet with Ghislainemaxwell in prison, do an interview, and then she immediately got a big, very important material benefit. She got bumped down to a minimum security prison where a sex offender like her is not allowed to be unless they get some special dispensation from on high, which apparently she got just after doing this interview with the president's former personal defense lawyer. Special treatment and a reward for an interview about her crimes, not from some craven tabloid or some, soulless exploitative publisher like New York state legislators were worried about in the 1970s. No, this is from the president's administration. This is from the federal government. And in that interview, it's not like the president's lawyer was pressing her real hard on what she was telling him. At one point, Ghislainemaxwell volunteered in this interview that there were multiple members of President Trump's cabinet who had been involved with child sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein. Now, in the interview, the president's lawyer, we can hear, it's on the tape. President's lawyer hears her say that about multiple members of President Trump's cabinet, and he responds to her saying that by not asking anything about it. You can listen to it. She volunteers. Members of Trump's cabinet, people who the president's lawyer would value as colleagues, she says. She says they were among the people who she knows socialized with Jeffrey Epstein. She says that bluntly. And then listen to how Donald Trump's lawyer responds to that. Listen to the long pause he greets that information with, and then he just leaves it sitting right where it is and moves on to a different topic.
Did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there is no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, some of you in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers and would be with him if he was a creep or because they wanted sexual favors. A man wants sexual favors, he will find that. They didn't have to come to Epstein for that. Now, okay, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
So when's the last time you think you were with Mr. Epstein when he got a massage?
So this woman who's in prison, a 20-year sentence because of her crimes she committed with Jeffrey Epstein. She says, hey, members of Donald Trump's cabinet were involved with this thing that I was part of. We're involved with Epstein. She said, plural, right? Some are in your cabinet. Some are in your cabinet who you value as your coworkers. Multiple members of the president's cabinet were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And the response to her volunteering this in this interview is not, who? Which members of the cabinet? Say what now? The response is, long pause, let's move on. So the president's name, it's been reported, appears multiple times in the Justice Department's documents about the Jeffrey Epstein child sex abuse case. The FBI reportedly assigned agents to redact Donald Trump's name from the files in the Jeffrey Epstein case. The Justice Department is refusing to release all of its files and documents from the Jeffrey Epstein case. They are coddling and rewarding and doing favors for the one living person currently in prison for crimes related to Epstein's case, even as she is volunteering to them that there are more high-ranking Trump officials who were involved with Epstein. In that context, today, the New York Times reported on thousands of documents about Epstein's finances that were submitted to the U.S. government by his longtime banker, JPMorgan Chase. Records of more than 4,000 Epstein financial transactions totaling more than $1.1 billion, which JPMorgan reported to the federal government as possible evidence of his child sex trafficking. Reported to the federal government, so therefore in the hands of the federal government. It has been nearly a week since Democratic Senator Ron Wyden formally demanded last week that Trump's Treasury Department release its thousands and thousands of files on Epstein's financial records. On top of that, NBC News reports as of this weekend that Trump's Justice Department is now specifically opposing the news organization's request to unseal the names of two people who Jeffrey Epstein paid in 2018. He paid one of them $100,000 and another $250,000. Federal prosecutors described these people as potential co-conspirators of Epstein who were paid off by him. Federal prosecutors described those payments as potential witness tampering. NBC News reports that Trump's Justice Department has formally asked a federal judge to keep those names secret, as NBC seeks to have them unredacted. And now today we get this, which President Trump said did not exist. Donald Trump, in fact, sued the Wall Street Journal when they reported this summer that Trump had signed a birthday book for Jeffrey Epstein with some sort of a crude doodle of a naked woman and an enigmatic note from Trump to Epstein that seemed to suggest some kind of shared secret between them. Trump denied he had done any such thing and brought a big splashy lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal for publishing the claim that he had done such a thing, that such a letter with a doodle on it like that did exist. Well, now today, in response to a congressional subpoena, what do you know? There it is. The text apparently written by Donald Trump to child sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein. This is what it says. Voiceover. There must be more to life than having everything. Donald. Yes, there is, but I won't tell you what it is. Jeffrey. Nor will I, since I also know what it is. Donald. We have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, yes, we do, come to think of it. Donald, enigmas never age. Have you noticed that? Jeffrey, as a matter of fact, it was clear to me the last time I saw you. Donald, a pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret. And then it is signed. See the typewritten text there, Donald J. Trump, with the handwritten signature, Donald, beneath it. So it is all written like on the body of a naked woman-ish. The president apparently describing a shared secret between him and Jeffrey Epstein, a bizarre reference to age, and quote, certain things that the two men have in common. Yeah, okay. The White House today decided to claim that this is not really from Donald Trump, that this is clearly, in their words, not his signature on this document. Pretty immediately, other examples were obtained of President Trump signing his first name in various contexts right around that time. And the signature from those other uncontested signatures of his, I don't know, looks pretty exactly the same. I mean, just a layman's understanding of these things, but here, look. This is the birthday book for Epstein that has Trump purportedly signing it, Donald, in 2003. Here, the New York Times publishes an example of a book Trump signed to Jeffrey Epstein in 1997, Donald. Here's the Wall Street Journal publishing an example of a letter Trump signed, Donald, in the year 2000. Here's the Wall Street Journal publishing an example of a letter Trump signed Donald in 2006. Now, I'm no forensic handwriting expert, but if the White House is hinging its whole defense against how ferociously creepy and suspicious this all is on how much these signatures don't all look alike, how much these signatures don't look like each other, if that's their defense, that's a terrible defense. This is the sitting president of the United States. In addition to the creepy Our Shared Secret Naked Woman References to Never Aging document from Epstein's birthday book, Epstein's estate also today handed over to Congress this photo in which Epstein, who you see on the right there, is holding a big novelty check for $22,500. It is a check that is made to look like it is from Trump to Epstein. So it's Trump purportedly paying Jeffrey Epstein more than $22,000. The caption alongside the photo, which the Wall Street Journal says was written by a longtime Mar-a-Lago member, indicates that the check is because Epstein sold to Donald Trump a, quote, girl who is described as, quote, fully depreciated, for $22,500. What's that about? This, of course, comes after President Trump said just earlier this summer that the reason he had a falling out with his longtime friend Jeffrey Epstein after 15 years of friendship was because Epstein, in Trump's words, stole a young woman from him. One of Epstein's sex trafficking victims, who Trump says Epstein stole from Trump's spa at Mar-a-Lago. Real normal stuff here, you guys. Real normal. I mean, what in presidential history even approximates a scandal this disgusting? What in the history of the United States of America, for anybody in any position of public trust, approximates the level of repulsiveness that Donald Trump brings to the presidency, with this trailing behind him like a snail trail?
Guys, what in the hell do you say behind that? A check that Donald Trump wrote and basically said that he was paying for a depreciated girl? That is definitely sex trafficking to me.